Hi everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author, and today we're going to make a sweet 1-hour focaccia bread. So let's get rolling because this is so much fun. All right, we have 1 cup of hot tap water. It's not like over 130 degrees because nobody has hot tap water that's over 130 degrees. I have yeast. We're doing 2 teaspoons of yeast. As you know, we're also going to do sugar because this is a sweet focaccia. I also have some olive oil over here that's been infused with cinnamon and mint. There's a little mint flecks in there. Yum. So we're going to be using that too. I have some sweet cherries. These are like tart, and I'm going to kind of rough chop them and add them to my bowl right before I take my bread out. So this should only take about an hour. If you are going to use the hot oven proofing method, go ahead and turn your oven to 220, and as soon as it reaches temperature, go ahead and turn it off because you just want it kind of warm in there. All right, now I have over here my little list of what I want to put in here. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of granulated sugar. Yes, a whole tablespoon. And it's just regular white sugar. You can use cane sugar if you want. It's going to give you a little bit of a more molasses flavor. And then a teaspoon, I think I did. I have a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is my regular teaspoon measuring spoon. You don't have to be exact here. Just throw it in the bowl. That was really loud. Sorry. Hubby would be like, "You're banging again." I'm always banging around in the kitchen. All right, so half a teaspoon of cinnamon, some sugar, your yeast, and then you're going to let that sit for a few minutes, and I'm going to go grab a spatula because I don't have one, and a cutting board. So we're going to grab a spatula, going to grab a cutting board, letting my yeasty water hang out. Also, we're going to need coarse salt too, and of course, all-purpose flour, and a pastry brush. I'll be right back. Spatula. Cutting board. Okay, I'm back. Got my spatula. I'm just going to use that to kind of give my yeasties and my sugar a little stir around. And you can use brown sugar or cane sugar. Like I said, you're going to get a different flavor though. Your yeasties are getting all happy in the water because sugar, they love it. Mine were already foamy whenever I added that cinnamon too. Yay! That is so loud. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add a half a cup of my flour. You're going to need 1.5 cups, just all-purpose flour. The reason that I'm going to go ahead and put a half cup in now is because I want it to kind of mix in, and then I'm going to leave it alone while I cut up my cherries and stuff, just so it gets all beautiful and absorbs some of that flavor that we just added. Okay, move that out of the way. Use my spatula one more time. And I'm just going to kind of mix that flour in with everything else, and then I'm going to leave it alone. This may take a little more than 1.5 cups of flour. It may take a little less. You're going to have to gauge based on where you are, how dry it is, etc. My yeasties are already foamy in there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, for my focaccia to bake, I have this pan. It's about 12 inches in diameter and about 1 inch deep, maybe 1.5 inches deep. So if you have that pan, that's great. It is actually oven proof up to 550 degrees. So yeah. So I'm not going to do a whole ton of cherries. Probably 1/8 of a cup-ish. Maybe 1/3 of a cup. Whatever. Just put cherries until you're happy. So just rough chop them. You don't have to get into tiny little pieces or any of that. We just don't want people to like be chewing on our focaccia and then come across this giant piece of cherry and it's all tart in their mouth with the sweet topping. Okay? We are going to put some sugar and some figs and some apricots on top of this with a little cinnamon. I know your mouth's already watering, but this tartness of the cherries is going to really set off the sweetness of everything else. You don't want your anything to be super duper cloyingly sweet, because you can't eat that much of it. And me personally, I like to be able to eat a lot of whatever it is I like. So let's not overdo it, okay? All right, cherries are chopped. I'm just going to set them over there. And like I said, don't worry about like getting down the details, but like that size. Small, but not teeny tiny. And they're very, very sticky. But they will come apart once I put them into this batter. There's a whole one. Oh. Okay. Using a paddle attachment on my mixer, because we're going to kind of whip it into submission. And just on low until it's kind of incorporated, then we're going to add another half cup of flour. Looks good. All right. Now there's no kneading to this bread. You do not need it. After this half cup is whenever I'm going to add my salt. Then I'm going to give it a mix around. Then I'm going to put my cherries in before I put the rest of my flour, so they get nice and incorporated into all of the bread. Okay, half cup. Bam. Spatula. Bam. And this doesn't make a huge loaf. It makes a loaf that you can probably eat in one sitting with your family, if you're a family of 4. Of course, I made a regular savory focaccia last night, and it's now gone. I think there's a third of the pan left, so had there been one more person here, it was just my husband, myself, and our daughter. If there had been one more person here, I am convinced it would have all been gone. So I just wiped that, like kind of mixed it up a little bit. Now I'm just running this until it gets mixed together. Like, I'm not beating it completely yet. That comes later. All right. So now we're going to add our salt. I think I have like a half a teaspoon, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. But everything sweet, you have to add some salt to it. It makes it just a little sweeter. So a quarter of a teaspoon, of course, salt. And now we need to add our olive oil. This is, like I said, a sweet cinnamon mint. Oh, it smells so good. Olive oil. Make sure I don't put sugar in my olive oil. That would be a fun surprise. Okay, 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. I'm just going to leave that sitting in there. Now for my pan, I'm going to use a tablespoon of regular olive oil just to oil it. That's approximately a tablespoon. And then once you get the oil in there, just move the pan around. Make sure that the whole bottom gets covered in olive oil. Your bread will actually push it out to the edges and up the sides whenever you roll your dough. Whenever you put your dough in there. So don't worry too much about every side being oiled. You do want to make sure that entire bottom is oiled though, because it will stick. Now if you're using the proving option, whatever. If you're in the UK, it's a prove. If you're in the US, it's a proof. We like to proof everything. So if you're using the proving option, go ahead and turn it on so your oven is nice and warm and ready. All right, see, that's just a coating. Okay, put that over there. Put my salt in, my olive oil. Now I'm going to put my cherries in. Cherries. And then we're just going to add flour. I'm going to go ahead and add the next half cup. We're going to add flour until it pulls away from the edge of the bowl. That's all the flour it needs. This is not a flour heavy dough. It's very light. Bam. Alrighty. Here we go. Go ahead and give it some oomph. incorporate all of that olive oil. That helps it get light too, because the olive oil expands and steams kind of like butter. Mmm, yum, butter. Okay, now it's just adding flour. Yay. I don't know if it will take all of this or this plus a little bit. It does vary. It's not raining today, but it was the other day. Let me tell you what, that was the worst baking day I can remember. Everything went kaput the other day. Everything. It was a nightmare. I'm going to put the whole half cup in here. Now when you turn this back on, with your half cup of flour in there, turn it on low so it can incorporate. Try not to lose my spoon in my flour. I do that almost every time. Low, or it's going to come out. Then once it starts to come together a little bit, you can turn it up, but don't beat the hell out of it, because remember you're using a paddle, not a hook, so your dough is going to be kind of bossy. And it looks like it can use another couple tablespoons. I'm going to fill up the half cup and just put it in there very slowly, just to make sure I don't over flour it. That makes a really dense bread. Alright, here we go. Just a little. I used about that much of the half cup. And remember, you're going to want a little bit of flour on your counter too, so it's still looking very sticky. I'm going to put in about as much, about that much. That should do it. That'll do it. Okay, so it was what, 2.5 plus a little, or 1.5 plus a little? All right. And just one quick blast, and then we're taking it right out of here. Bam. It is still going to be just a little sticky, but it should hold together really well. We'll see. Yep, it's coming together fine. Perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna like generously flour my counter and turn this out right here. I'm gonna use the rest of the flour that was in this little cup. And then I'm gonna use my bowl scraper to get it out of there. I'm also gonna move my knife for now because what a mess. I will cut myself. We all know I'm that girl. Don't get rid of your measuring spoons just yet, okay? And your pastry brush should be nearby. So I went ahead and put all of that flour there. Now I'm just going to take my dough and my bowl scraper. It is still pretty sticky. We're just going to put it right out on the flour. I'm not trying to be perfect. Baking takes measurements. Cooking does not. But I'm going to put a little flour over top of this too, just so my fingers don't stick to it. Like I said, I'm not kneading it, so it doesn't have to be tacky but not sticky. It can be sticky, and sticky is fine. We're going to bake it anyway. So yum. Okay, put a little flour over top, and sprinkling it right out of my bowl. And again, that's just so my hands don't stick to it while I kind of give it a little bit of shape. I'm not going for perfect, I'm going for bakeable. All right, that's what your dough should look like. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just kind of a blob. So what you're going to do is very carefully pick it up and put it right over in your pan. Yep, it got up on the edge. And just press it out to the edges, all the way out to the edges of that pan. If it's stuck to the edge, pull it back And you can always drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there. Like bam. Smoosh it around with your finger, and then smoosh your bread back out. It works very well. Okay, smoosh. It's a very technical term. I have olive oil coming up through the middle of my bread. That's fine. We're going to let it, because we're about to just spread it around right here anyway. So if you have the olive oil show, just take your fingers and use it across the top of your bread. Because remember, this will save you from spraying it with cooking spray too. Air is the enemy of rising, and we're going to do a quick 20-minute rise on this before we put anything else on it. So I would usually use cooking spray, but since I had an oil blowout, I'm just using the oil. It works, makes it moist, and yum. This is one of those breads that's very forgiving. You can really play with the flavors. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Kabam. Sliding. As it should. And then I'm going to cover it with this damp towel and pop it right into the proof. 20 minutes later, we will start to decorate the top. Get yourself some dried fruits, some nuts, whatever you want. And then bring your sugar and your cinnamon back, because we're going to make a little crust on top. And it will be lovely, and I will see you guys in 20 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 20 minutes. Hey y'all, I'm back. Look at that. It's risen quite a bit. Looks so beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to leave this covered and just over there, okay? I'm just going to drape my towel back over it and put it over there so it's not in the way. Now we're going to make our topping. And you can get a little creative with this. Go a little, you know, have some fun. Whatever. It's your food. You do you. I have some apricots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do 8. And all I'm going to do with these apricots is cut them into long, thin strips. Like that. Okay? They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be cut. Now the problem with using dried fruit on focaccia is it cooks at a very high temperature. We're also going to toss some ice in the oven with it so you get that oven spring from your dough. It will help keep this a little moist, but just know that if you add it all right now and put it all on top of there, it will probably char. It's going in a 400-degree oven. That ain't no joke. Alright. You know me and my love of figs. I put them in a lot of my breads. If you just want this fruit like distributed through the bread, feel free to pop it in when you popped in the cherries. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. It might take a little longer to rise in your oven on that first rise, but that's okay. I hate that they put the stems in with the figs. Like, can you not take those off? Oh my Lord. And this should just give us some really pretty fruit to go on top of our focaccia. We're going to dimple it here in a minute, and then we will get to rocking and rolling as soon as that oven preheats. It does take my oven a few minutes. I'm guessing longer than other ovens because it's pretty slow on preheating. But you know what? I wouldn't trade my oven for the world. So let's not trade my oven, okay? I love it. It's brand new. Before this oven, I had a 17-inch Easy Bake. Not an actual Easy Bake oven, but I mean, it was from like 1973, so we're going to pretend like it was an Easy Bake oven. It was tiny enough to be an Easy Bake oven. And my husband called it my Easy Bake oven. So, yeah, that was funny. For years, like my pans wouldn't even fit in there. It was ridiculous. But I love pecans, y'all. You know this about me. I love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. I'm just going to chop up some pecans to go on top too. Now the pecans I'm going to put on as soon as I put the focaccia in the oven. Like right now. And then I'm going to sprinkle my cinnamon sugar over my infused olive oil that we're going to brush the top with. Throw the pecans on there. They'll get all toasty. That'll be really tasty. Now remember, there's some sugar in your bread loaf, so it's a little bit sweet, but I don't like to like super sweet breads. I don't know why people go for the super sweet unless they're making like a pastry, like a bun, like a morning pastry. Those are pretty good, but for my everyday, like just snacking bread, like this is gonna be, I like it to be just like taste like bread, but then have a little kick of like sweetness there. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. All right. So unveiling. I'm unveiling the focaccia. Let me get rid of these stems before I accidentally throw those in. And I have my sugar and my cinnamon. I'm going to brush my loaf with my mint and cinnamon olive oil just to coat the top. You don't want to like press down on it because it will like wrinkle it. It should pop out once you get in the oven, but you don't have to be all violent with your bread. Just gently. Don't pop all those beautiful bubbles we worked so hard to make, okay? It's like Christmas around here. FedEx is in my driveway. You guys know I record ahead, so I don't think this is hitting the channel till February-ish, but 'tis the season. Okay, I just coated the top with olive oil. Now here comes the fun part, because you get to dimple your bread. So take your thumb and just poke all the way through to the bottom, just some dimples all the way around. And you're not really deflating the bread. So don't go crazy. You're just making some dimples for those the nice olive oil to kind of pool in. Now I'm going to take my pecans and sprinkle them over the top. And these will get all roasted in the oven, like I said. It's going to be so delicious. You will thank me at some point. Be like, wow, I don't know why I haven't made this a million times in my life. But Joe, I am going to make it now a million times before I die. That's a lot of making. And yes, I do like scrape the crumbly pecan bits because, yeah, all over the bread. Yeah, there can never be too many pecans in my opinion. I love them. They're my favorite. Okay, sugar. So now you're going to just take your sugar and you're just going to lightly sprinkle over top of your bread. Just turn that so I'm not trying to sprinkle toward myself. And you can do this again once you put the fruit on there. We're going to let it bake for 10 minutes, take it out, put the fruit on, and put it back in. Yum. I did just do that. I don't even know why I have that. Oh, I can't throw it away. I need it right now. Normally I would like blend my sugar and cinnamon together and then sprinkle it on, but I'm feeling a little bit lazy today, so I'm just winging it. We're just sprinkling. Whatever. Now if you really want a pop of yum, if you have flaky sea salt, use that. I don't have that, so I'm using coarse salt, and I'm just doing like a light, that was maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, and I just sprinkle it all over the top. It'll be so yummy. So as soon as my oven preheats to 400, I'm going to pop this in for 10 minutes, and I will be back with you guys so we can add our dried fruit to the top, and then we will bake it again. I'll see y'all then. Thanks. Hey guys, okay, I have my half-baked focaccia. It's been in for 10 minutes. Just setting it right there. I'm really quickly going to put this fruit on top. Just however I think I want it. It's apricots and figs. Again, it's just going to go back in for 10 minutes. I'm not trying to be perfect. If you want perfect, you're going to have to use fresh fruit. Sorry to burst your bubble. I am going to sprinkle it with a little more sugar so these kind of get candied in that 400-degree oven. Those pecans look amazing. Okay. A little more sugar. I'm making some rough puff pastry over here, so if y'all want to see that video, give me a look up. Take a peek at some of my stuff. You will not be sorry. That's like a lot of pile of sugar right there. This sugar should melt and caramelize over your fruit, so it'll be like a double sweet bam. All right, putting this back in the oven for 10 minutes, and I will be back with you guys when it's done. See y'all then. Hey guys, I'm back. Guess what? The focaccia is done. Okay, so look really closely here, and you're gonna see the top of that apricot on the edge right there started to blacken. So that's why you cannot put your dried fruit on whenever you first put this in the oven. Just wait 10 minutes, then toss it on, and it works perfectly. And they get just a little chewier, and they get like candied from that sugar, and they're so good. I know they're already sweet, but you know I like sweet things. That's why I married the man I did. So because there's sugar, and it's gonna get down between your focaccia and your pan, just run a knife around the outside edge, and it should come loose pretty darn easily because you put all that olive oil in the bottom. Like so. Ta-da! Now I'm going to do my best to get it out of here and onto there without breaking it. Let's see if I can do that because, yikes! We shall see. So I got to get it out of this pan. Let me get this pan picked up. And then over here, this is always a fun challenge. Get the bread out without messing it up. It's spinning, so it's loose. Oh no! All my toppings are falling off. Don't touch the hot pan with your bare hands. That would be very bad. It didn't want to go back on there. I promise. It was like, no, help me. Alright. Right now I can't get it out of here without smashing it into a million pieces. So I'm just going to wait till it cools, move it over here, and I'll take it out later. However, I'm going to have a bite because I want a bite. I think I'm going to go right here down this edge. You don't really want to cut hot bread because it tends to get gummy when you do that. But I'm making an exception just for y'all. You see it's spinning, so it's not stuck to my pan. It's just a little hard to get out of there. Okay. Yay. All right. Woo! 195 degrees inside. The crumb is beautiful and light and fluffy. You can see it. Whoa. You can see it there. Beautiful and light and fluffy. And now it's warm. And I'm going to put it in my mouth. Mmm. 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 I got lot of toasty pecan in that bite too. Oh my god. I dropped that right down my shirt. Apron. Whatever. It's in there somewhere. Okay. Wow. Holy moly. I love it when things go right. Okay, so if you cook this, let me finish it. So if you guys really like this video, give me a thumbs up. I'll appreciate it. If you make it, leave me a comment below. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know what fruit and nuts you used too, because that'll be fun. If you didn't like this video, I'm sorry. But I can try again next week, so, you know, today's not the end-all be-all, I hope. Share. Share on social media, tag me. I'm Write Joe Michaels, W-R-I-T-E, everywhere, like literally everywhere. So if you share, tag me, I'll come pop by and say hello. And then make sure you subscribe, because the button is here or there. I'm not really sure, but it's gonna pop up. And check out some of my other bread videos. That one will also pop up somewhere here. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see y'all next week.